Hello everyone, today I'm going to ask you a very simple yet profound question. What do you think is the greatest invention in human history? Many of us would immediately say, fire! And we'd be right, warmth, protection, cooking. Others would say, the wheel. That's also correct. Trade, transportation, and civilization itself all started with it. But in my opinion, neither of these takes the number one spot. Because humanity's greatest invention is something we almost never even think to mention: money. Money isn't a physical object like fire or the wheel. You can't touch it, you can't weigh it in your hand. Money is purely an idea, a collective agreement. It has no intrinsic value. It's only worth something because we all agree it is. Does that make it any less important? Quite the opposite. Before money existed, we had barter. You traded one good or service directly for another good or service. The problem was that both parties had to want exactly what the other was offering at the same time, what economists call the double coincidence of wants. That was so difficult that trade was almost impossible. Another huge problem was storing value. A tomato farmer couldn't save his wealth because tomatoes rot. A tent maker, on the other hand, could trade all year round and accumulate wealth. Same effort, completely different outcomes. To solve these problems, humanity first started using widely accepted items: salt, shells, beads, later metals, as money. Around 700 BC, the first metal coins were minted in China. Now value came from scarcity. You couldn't just pick bronze or gold off the beach. But kings and rulers quickly realized the power of money. They started reducing the precious metal content while keeping the stamp that said, "This is still worth the same." That's the moment money turned into an illusion. Eventually paper money appeared. At first it was a promise. Bring this note, and I'll give you gold. Then one day they stopped giving gold, but the paper still worked. Every currency we use today is fiat money. Its value comes from the government declaring, "This is worth X," and all of us accepting it. The most valuable banknote still in existence is the 10,000 Singapore dollar note. It costs less than 30 cents to print, yet you can buy a house, a car, or 120 grams of gold with it, simply because we all agree it has that value. So why do governments keep printing more and more? Because money equals power. More money printed equals more control. In 2020, when the pandemic hit and the global economy nearly ground to a halt, the United States printed money at an unprecedented rate. Roughly 40% of all US dollars in existence today were printed in the last few years. When the money supply grows that fast while production stays the same, the result is inflation. Lumber prices tripled in a year. Food, fuel, everything started going up. This is just the beginning. Stimulus packages and unemployment benefits were absolutely necessary at the time. No one disputes that. But they also had a side effect. Newly printed money quietly reduces the purchasing power of the money already in your pocket. The number in your bank account stays the same, but you can buy less with it every day. The U.S. national debt is now around $35 trillion. They will never pay it back in the traditional sense. They just print new money to roll over the old debt. Since 2020, the Federal Reserve has bought trillions of dollars in bonds, and continues to do so. Bottom line, in a fiat system, holding cash means slowly getting poorer. The wealthy understand this perfectly. They don't sit on cash. They move it into real estate, stocks, gold, or other assets that at least outpace inflation. The stock market looks like it's constantly rising, right? But if you measure the Dow Jones in gold instead of dollars, we're basically at the same level we were in 1997. A big part of the growth is just an illusion created by money printing. How long can this system keep going? Can the dollar remain the world's reserve currency forever under these conditions? Will inflation spiral out of control? Will the wealth gap keep widening? Time will tell. But one thing is crystal clear. Understanding that money is an illusion is the first step toward financial freedom. In this game, the person who stays in cash loses. Converting your money into assets that appreciate faster than inflation is the only realistic way to protect and possibly grow your wealth. Thank you for watching this far. If you found this useful or eye-opening, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.